from Tournament Day Pizza. I'm the Nicky Pizza Man. Brady Harris is out on assignment. And on the phone line, I feel like a president. But we have Dave Feldman, the president of the BKFC, on the line. Dave, are you there?
I am here, man.
Welcome to Knockout Radio. What an amazing event. Albuquerque, New Mexico, site of KnuckleMania 3. And I don't know about you. I've been to them since day one. I don't think I've ever seen anything as great in combat sport as what I just saw Friday night.
No, I think that was there's certain things that we've done in this company's history that, one was a next level change, or we turned the corner, however you want to say it, and then you turn the corner here, you turn the corner there. I think we turned the corner to really, there's not many more corners that we're going to turn. That one, I think, elevated us to let people know that we are a true, real player in this combat sports realm now, that we're going to be a big player and that we're going to make a lot of noise now. It was an amazing event from start to finish. 8,200 fans in attendance. Every fight had, its own little story, and it was just phenomenal. Awesome night for us. I didn't sleep at all. Friday night, I stayed up the whole entire night because I was just so pumped on the event. It was amazing.
So Dave, we know obviously the fights. We'll get to the fights themselves and the title fight, obviously. But how did it feel to have maybe the GOAT of female and male MMA, John Jones and Holly Holm, in attendance as spectators and fans of the BKFC?
I mean, it was awesome. It was an amazing thing. I just saw a clip of John Jones leaving the arena. I didn't see it until today, and he was like, man, bare knuckle fighting, this stuff is unbelievable, man. What a show. So, look, I mean, second show, Holly Holm was out, so she obviously liked it. If you're a combat sports fan, I've been saying this from day one, if you're a combat sports fan, it's hard not to like. It's just hard not to like. It gives you everything you want, and it's fast-paced, and it's an amazing sport. But, I mean, to have the who's who of combat sports in attendance, one of the biggest fights in history that ever put Albuquerque on the map was Johnny Tapia versus Danny Romero. Danny Romero was in attendance, so it was an honor to meet him. It was just an amazing night. But, I mean, to sell more tickets, in that arena than the UFC did the last time they were there, that was a milestone for us, and that was unbelievable. And I just want to put that into perspective, that we know we're not as big as the UFC. We know I have a long way to go. But to even be in that same sentence of the same comparison was just an unbelievable moment for me personally.
Now, Dave, I've traveled a lot with you guys. I've been to all the different cities. A lot of cities you go to, and people don't know about BKFC, and they don't know the fights are even going on. What about Albuquerque? And everybody in the city knew that the fights were in town. They knew where it was. And I don't know if I've ever seen a crowd as energized as the 8,200 people in attendance at the Tingley Coliseum.
No, it was. How many times I just stood up and I just looked around the Coliseum and I heard the noise, and I was like, man, not to be cliche, but if you build it, they will come. And we built this thing, and they came, man. It was just unbelievable. We sent street teams out. That's one of our new objectives, is we're sending a lot of street teams out in these different markets that we're going to, and we're plastering the place up. We're talking about it. We're bringing out some of our champs to talk to people. We're just getting people to know what this thing is. But, I mean, like I always tell everybody, once you see it, you'll be a fan for life if you're a combat sports fan, and that's what's happening. And, some of the real important people in Albuquerque that are in the fight scene told us now, he said, Dave, you're never going to sell less than that amount of tickets here. I mean, you made it here. You're going to keep doing it here. They love it here. So it was just amazing. Albuquerque showed up. They showed out. They were unbelievable fans. They were enthusiastic. Like you said, some of the biggest combat sports fans in the world were there. It was just an amazing feeling for myself and for the company itself to, ascend to a new level.
Dave, turn me on. The thing that I noticed watching it at home is you're talking about how electric it was there. You could sense that on TV. Sometimes you can't sense how electric it is, but you definitely could on Friday.
Yeah, Randy, that's the thing that got me the most is, when you're there, I get everybody patting on the back. Hey, great job. Unbelievable event. It was the best thing I've ever seen. But when you get people from home watching it to see that they got that same type of vibe, that was truly unbelievable for us as well. And just a great night all around. I think I got more messages, for this fight than I got in the past 2 years combined. It was just a really amazing thing for us. I can't say enough about what it did for the company's growth for that event. it's almost like we just got accepted into, the mainstream of combat sports now.
I don't know if you touched on this while I had to take care of something there for a couple minutes. And you and I have talked about this before. How do you top? How do you top some of these fights? Some of the legendary fights. How do you top what you guys just did on Friday?
I mean, how do you top Mike Richman versus Lorenzo Hunt ever, no matter how times you do that? How do you top a guy winning the entire first round, dropping Lorenzo Hunt, and then getting knocked out cold right at the end of the round? I mean, I don't know how you ever top that, but, we're certainly going to try. We're going to make an announcement next Wednesday for our April 29th show, and I think the lineup itself is going to top it, but, will the fights top it? I don't know if anything can ever top that.
We briefly talked about it at the start of the show, and believe it or not, even Matt said this. The fact of, and you and I have talked about Richman, Hunt. I've talked to Richman. I've talked to Hunt. Can this fight be? Let's get this fight. How often does a fight that has built up, like we did in the media, like you did at the promotion, live up to and really exceed anything anybody could have thought about?
Yeah, man. I mean, most of the time, like you said, you put it on paper, and on paper it's a great fight, and then it turns out to be a good fight, right? Not a great fight, but on paper, this was everything we thought it was going to be, and it turned out that way. It delivered. Now, everybody wants a rematch, and sometimes we see typically there's only been about 5 or 6 rematches and trilogies in combat sports history that ever lived up to that hype, and maybe this one can. Everybody's calling for a rematch, so I'm giving these guys a week or two to rest before even talking to them about their next fight, because that was a war for both of them, and I just want them to relax right now, enjoy the moment. It really, I don't know even the word, but it was an amazing quote that I quoted from Mike Richman. Texted me, and he said, I texted him to check on him. I called him to check on him, and he said, "Thanks for checking on me." Blah blah blah. He said, I was moments away from having the whole entire bare knuckle world in the palm of my hands, and I got knocked dead with one punch. That's why I effing love this sport. The guy just got knocked dead, and to be able to say that just said everything about this whole entire sport. Like, it's just an amazing sport. It's an amazing company. It's amazing fighters, and it's just growing. And that was just an amazing, to hear something. Usually you have someone making an excuse, or you have someone saying, "Oh, it was horrible."
We lose that?
Something like that. It was just unbelievable to hear.
Well, my only complaint about the fight, and we talked about it, is that it ended so quickly. I mean, we wanted to see this. So if you're talking rematch, all of us that are saying that was the greatest fight ever, and why did it end so quick? The rematch would absolutely be outstanding. And you said that you reached out to Mike. I reached out to Greg Hardy right after, and basically he said the same thing. He's like, "That's the fight game. That's life. I'll be okay. I'll be back." And big ups to all of those guys, the winners and the losers.
No, absolutely. I mean, they all came to fight their heart out. Like, Greg Hardy got rocked, he got back up, and then he got knocked out. I mean, it was like these guys showed what combat sports is about, what real combat sports is about, and then they showed what the sport is about. So it was amazing just to have those kind of fights and have those kind of personalities in attendance. It was the absolute best night of my combat sports professional career.
Until the next one. Until the next one.
Well, it's so funny because I said to my wife, I was like, "This is going to be the biggest event ever. You got to take off and get here." She's like, "You say that every event."
Right. So Dave, going along with that education of educating the world about what BKFC is, because of the Radio Row and Randy and I being at the Super Bowl, I had a chance to go onto an Albuquerque radio station the night of the fight, and the announcer didn't understand it and didn't get it. And I explained to him how it's more skillful and more technical, and it's not just parking lot brawling. And I converted him into a fan. And from that, he came to the show, and you now have a huge fan base at the biggest radio station in Albuquerque to promote your next fight there.
Let me just respond to that real quick, because what you just said normally is true. The fighter beat the boxer. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you're saying
I just want to say one thing about Richmond, man. Those body shots were just insane. I've never seen anything like it in bare knuckle yet. I mean, that was vicious body shots. And, it worked. It worked for him. But, unfortunately, this is combat sports, and he got caught.
I also want to say this to you, Dave, and that's why I've reached out to Lorenzo, because I want to say the same thing to him. You know how I've been very vocal about some of the things Lorenzo has done in building up and, doing his job, basically. What I saw on video when he was backstage and he went and he talked to Mike and he said, I've never got my ass beat like that before. That's the Lorenzo Hunt that I know.
Yeah.
And that's the Lorenzo Hunt that we need the world to know.
For sure.
Part of it is the game, the fight game, the combat game. Lorenzo is a good dude. And I think that video of him being humbled in the back goes a long way for people to find out who the real Lorenzo Hunt is.
100%, man. Look, he needs to sell himself. I mean, there's no better person in bare knuckle that sells himself. I mean, some of the antics I know you don't like and some of the antics I don't like. At the end of the day, it's people talked about him and they grew to hate him. And It's okay to be the most hated guy in the company. But at the end of the day, you did see who he was. Went over there, hugged him, and told him, he said, and I said, everybody, I think at the post-fight press conference, I said, everybody's calling for the rematch. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do here. He goes, of course, they all want to see me get my ass kicked by Mike Richman again. So, the humbleness that he had was really great to see, and that's what this is all about. I mean, two guys going out there, selling the fight, giving it all that they have, leaving it all in the middle of that ring, and then, shaking hands or hugging each other and going on to a better day.
The beauty of being the promoter of BKFC is that event's now over and done with. Now you have to look forward to this weekend.
Yeah, it's amazing. We have this weekend, then we have London the following week, and then Delray Beach 2 weeks after that, and then Norfolk, Virginia, and then, we get to we're going to announce that big event that we have in April. Probably would be our most watching and highest amount of people and highest grossing ticket sales ever. I would imagine that's what it's going to be. It's going to be an amazing event. We're going to announce it next week. I don't want to prematurely announce it because I want to announce it when tickets are on sale. So I think it's going to sell fast. It's going to be in Denver on April 29th. I can't wait to that one. But, you can't wait to this one or you can't wait to that one. But this sport is growing. The fighters are loving it. It's getting more and more mainstream every day. It's just been an amazing growth for BKFC. Got such an amazing team, that works very, very hard to get this thing where it is. And, we're just not going to stop until we get to where we need to be.
Great stuff. Dave, as always, thank you for your time. And this spot is available for you next week if you have something to announce.
Absolutely. I'll, you know what? We'll talk. I might be able to pop on and do that.
All right, we will talk soon. Thank you, Dave. Dave Feldman, the president of BKFC. We've been on the ride since the very beginning.
We have.
And it continues this weekend. Let's hit a break. This is Knockout Radio, brought to you by 8 Man Strong and Staff Zone.